welcome to Meet the Candidate. My guest for this session is Mary Butler-Stonewall, who is running for Spokane Valley City Council. Welcome, Mary. This is just a good acquainted kind of interview, and I always like to ask people, where did you grow up and go to school?
I grew up in every state of Wine, Alaska. I grew up an American nomad, and I didn't attend school really until I was around 13. I taught myself reading and writing. But I did graduate when I was 18 years old when I was on my own. I got on my own when I was 17. And it was right around the same time I started working commercial construction. So yeah, I put myself in school because I wanted to be graduated, and I did it. It was a very hard trick.
Yeah, that's a lot of persistence there, and commercial construction can make you a bit of a nomad as well.
Yeah, so definitely it can. I grew up out here. I lived on Vashon Island in Seattle. I lived in Seattle. I lived in Tacoma. I lived in Springdale. Lived a little bit in Spokane. Lived on Bald Eagle Mountain in Boundary County, Idaho. That's where I started doing pastoral construction at 8 years old, or actually 6. I was chopping down trees by 8.
Well, what brought you to Spokane Valley?
Wholesomeness. It reminds me of it's a high plains, and the beautiful high plains of the Northwest, and it has all the things that you would want the high plains to have, even more than Spokane. So I've always loved the valley more.
Okay. One of the things you talked a little bit about your first job, because you talked about starting in when you were 6 and 8 years old. So how did you come to be have that opportunity? Because most kids don't get that opportunity.
I had a 1960s beatnik mom who thought it was better to be in a 53 Dodge panel van and visit every state of Wine, Alaska before I was 17. And I went to every wax museum, every bug sanctuary, every animal zoo, every aquarium in the United States, and I did all the border of the United States many times. And what we'd do is we'd buy things like in Mexico or places like that, and you bring it to New England, and you could sell that in New England. Then we'd take stuff that we could buy in New England and bring it out here, because when the pioneers came this way, they threw most of the stuff off the wagons, so the antiques are more expensive out here. So we did our little triangle of trade, and we'd leave town with only like $3, and we'd show back up home with $2,000-3,000.
Very entrepreneurial of your mother.
Yeah, mother. What is it? They say having a problem is the mother of
Yeah.
I forget the term. The mother of necessity.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah, dyslexia. I tend to flip it, so it's really hard for me sometimes.
Yeah.
But I came back to here. Number one. But this area had the cheapest college town. Sadly, now I can go to college out of state cheaper than I can here, and it shouldn't be like that, university and college, because some of the universities and colleges around the United States are beating our prices, and we don't need our students leaving. So that's kind of upsetting.
Did you
to
attend
me.
one of the colleges here?
I attended Spokane Community College with really no prior education, and I did architectural and mechanical engineering. I got a certificate in mechanical, and I got my associates in architecture. But I did good. I did a 3.2 GPA for someone with severe learning disabilities and no education. So,
Oh, yeah, that makes you a real good self-starter there.
yeah, well, I try to help kids around the neighborhood. I run a homeless shelter out of my home, and everywhere I've ever lived. Since I've been on my own. And I've been in this town 27 years basically, and I've run a homeless shelter for people with autism, ADHD, manic depressive, paranoid schizophrenia, PTSD, combat veterans, or physically disabled. The people that are in transit in our community that don't want to go downtown and can't afford to because of their disabilities. So I'll put them up in my home. And I always tell them, remember, the person helping you came to this town with $2.36, one on each hand, one in the tummy, and in 10 years was a college graduate and had her own home on Social Security. So if you believe, just try. That's all you got to do is try, and I'll be there to back you. And so far, everybody I've helped is thumbs up.
Well, that's good work. That's a big project to be taking on solo.
Well, somebody's got to do it. And sadly, Spokane Valley doesn't have a transitional housing of any kind. And unfortunately, most people that are in transit from one apartment to another because the landlord or sold the place, or maybe it's a bad apartment complex and you just had to get out, or domestic whatever, and you're in transit. Nowadays, everybody that's in transit is homeless. And it makes it a dirty word. It makes it easier for us to dismiss our citizens. And I really think Spokane Valley needs to step up to the plate and create a transit housing for our citizens so we're not losing them to the economy downtown. When they get rehoused, they immediately go into Spokane housing, and we never see that money back into our community because they don't deserve to have to be displaced just because they're in transit. So it'd be nice if we address that instead of just people like me trying to do it, you know?
So it sounds like that's probably been your inspiration for getting involved. That's another question I ask is why did you decide to step up and run for elected office?
I've had both the community tell me I should, because I'm such a community-minded person. And then I talked to my friends. I have like 4 ambassadorships overseas, and I work in educational and sustainability development overseas I'm a consultant to them. I don't charge anything, but they all sent me, I told them that I had been asked about this, and I was scared, and they, instead of telling me I should or shouldn't, all they did is send me recommendations, signed letters of encouragement. So I was like, okay, I think I need to do this. And then I was like, I'm right in the middle of having all my dental work done. This is embarrassing. And they were like, Mary, you're Macho Mary, you're Stonewall Mary. Why would you ever let that stop you from achieving your goal? It never has before. So I said, okay, teeth or no teeth, in the middle of all this surgery, I'm going for it because the people asked me to. So more than anything, I'm here not for the endorsement of the people, but to know that, to let the people know I'm here to endorse them.
You're moving right into my last question, which is, so your 1-minute elevator speech that you would give to answer that question: why should people vote for Mary Butler-Stonewall for Spokane Valley City Council?
That would be, if you have a problem in the Spokane Valley and the Spokane Valley Council says 9 times out of 10, this is not open for discussion with the public. If you write me a good enough letter, I will read it into the minutes. I will not let the voice of the Spokane Valley people be silenced. And I'm really upset they're moving the library against the people's wishes. The whole Spokane Valley voted against moving the library. So I'm standing strong on going with what the people want. Let's put that money to something else, maybe an overpass, an animal overpass out in the highway, so we don't have all the animals in car crashes we have every winter. How many people have died on our highway because we don't have an animal crossing on that part of the highway? We need to do something else with our money to encourage something else to be done. Or maybe do I always say, Spokane Valley succeeded from Spokane, but they haven't done anything about it. They don't create their own tourism. They're not housing their homeless or, the people in transit. All the things that they should be doing for their citizens is not happening, and I'd like to see that change. We need to bring our own commerce. We need to bring our own tourism. We need to create our own events, maybe a small convention center, just for perfect small menus. People are still looking for them. There's tons of conventions that go on every year, and we could attract something that we can profit from, and they can have the leftovers. I'm tired of the Spokane Valley just being with the leftovers of what Spokane has to offer. We're on our own as a city. We need to act like it. That's why I want to run.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming in today, Mary, and good luck with your campaign.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
What does it mean to be awake? It means to truly understand the issues facing us and actively participate as a citizen in this country. One way you can do that is by voting your values based on the Word of God. We believe We Vote has done the research and provides you the information you need to make an informed decision on which candidates will champion our values and work for us. Now is the time to rise up, get involved, and vote. WeBelieveWeVote.com.
Hello, Spokane. This is Governor Mike Huckabee. I'm going to be speaking at We Believe We Vote's October 2nd fundraiser. It's more important than ever for Christians to come together and to vote. I'm looking forward to seeing you on October the 2nd of this year. For tickets to the event, go to WeBelieveWeVote.com.